from 1999, 2002. I'll argue it's a better one than that. Right, I'm gonna bring it in. Also, watch the stream back, aren't we? Whoa! Hello, guys. It's me. It's John, PVG, and I'm joined by Freed, Triple F, or even
the fried one.
It depends on what you call yourself these days. There's so many different things.
I mean, I could be Goldfried as well. I don't know.
Goldfried, Jesus Christ! The day I turn on Discord and I see your face painted gold, I'm ending the broadcast there. And then it's like I'm just like going like, I'm done. No, done.
Dude, I'm feeling a little bit edgy today, and I thought, like, in celebration of my mood, I'm gonna read you some poetry from when I was a little teenage edgelord. How about that?
Okay, give me some teenage edgelord.
This earth is not your place. The pale skin is on your face. If you step inside with me, you will see a king. He ain't that, he ain't the Rock. Don't wanna hear your big mouth in my world. In my world. In my world. In my... It's the lyrics to Jeff Jarrett's TNA theme song.
For God's
because later on, we're going to talk about the King of the Mountain match. The most underrated match type in wrestling history.
The most convoluted piece of shit in wrestling history, if I'm honest, but sure, we'll get into that. As you can tell, spoiler guys, we are diametrically opposed on our opinions of this match, so it should be interesting. But yes, our rundown of the show, guys, is to kind of give you a heads up what we're going to be going through today. Of course, we've got our Dynamite run through. We've got some news for you. We're going to be going through, as Free just correctly stated, a little segment on the King of the Mountain match. And if we can keep time right, we're going to give you our AEW All-Out predictions. But obviously, that's time permitting. So I just want to say at the start of the hour what we look forward to, and let's get into it. Do you want to bring it into this?
Let's start with a bang and talk about Dynamite.
Okay, then. Do you want to start us with that bang, sir, as we go into the Dynamite review?
Excalibur's back. It's been a long 4 weeks. Finally back on commentary. How cool is that?
Thank God. I'm not going to lie. Thank fucking God. I've missed it. I have missed it. Don't get me wrong. I like Taz. But Tony Schiavone does not know half the moves, and I know what he's trying to do. He's trying to fill the space where Excalibur will say exactly what they are, but he just doesn't quite have the laser focus on it, where, like, when he's back, I'm like, oh my God, yes, everything is being called correctly, and that is no shit on Tony. I love Tony Schiavone. He's just...
It's not so much about Tony Schiavone, it's more about countering out a salty JR.
Yeah.
In my opinion.
Yeah.
Plus, Excalibur knows all those guys, and like JR, what's an Orange Cassidy? That's not a JR impression. But
where's the flipping? He's not got the leg. He's not got the leg, and he doesn't have the leg. He can't get the pin. Like I hear that too often, but we'll not get into this shit.
Yeah, first match of the night. Like we say every week, they start off hot with a quick, fiery match. We have Santana and Ortiz in a match versus the Best Friends. And, like, they didn't even start the match in the ring, no. The Santana and Ortiz get attacked, get jumped by the Best Friends. They brawl around the ring for, like, 5-6 minutes before the match even starts. The noteworthy thing is, I guess, the Chuck Taylor is now the architect. He builds this colossal structure of chairs, and like always, when someone sets something like this up, they go through it themselves.
It's Sue's car. It's just Sue's car. Like even the steps brought in earlier was Sue's car as well. Like Trent ends up getting like, I think, knocked off from the apron into like the steps that they try to use as well at some point. So completely futile. Best Friends' approach to get ultra violent against their opponents.
Yeah, and both those bombs look brutal.
so like especially Chuck's. Chuck's looked like he had so much crap it wasn't even funny.
So match goes like this. Chuck Taylor takes himself out of the match with this bump. Basically, Santana and Ortiz work over over Trent for 5 minutes or something like that. He gets a hot tag to Jackie T, but he doesn't really do much. Santana and Ortiz try to get the street swiper in. Chuck blocks it. He gets hit by a dude buster from Trent, but Santana gets the hand on the ropes from Ortiz, and then they hit the street sweeper and win.
Yeah, pretty decisive win. Like, there was not too many shenanigans in play. It was a good match, clean match. Interesting approach, and if this feels like the blow-off match, you probably would have saw it all out, but instead they need bodies for the Battle Royale, so we'll see the Battle Royale play a bigger factor for this, at least this storyline for now, I reckon. And then we move on to our next section, which is the MJF promo. You want to take us through that, or will I take us through that?
I can go ahead. MJF is about to cut a promo, but Stupid Lee interrupts him, saying that Mark Sterling, the lawyer, isn't willing to come out of the locker room, so Wardlow just boots the door in. Carries him out. And we see another side of MJF there, don't we? He basically says, the lawyer might be scared of Moxley, but there's nothing scarier than getting between MJF and his goals. And he probably intimidates this guy.
Did he? I had a question. Did he say get fed to a wood chipper? Did I hear that right? So I did hear wood chipper. Okay, because I have my notes question mark, and I'm like, I even went back and tried to listen to it a few times and think, did I hear it wrong? Yeah, threatens to murder a man and put him for a wood chipper. That's pretty brutal.
I got sleeping with the fish's wives from this.
yeah. It was like very mafioso of them, wasn't it? Especially when he's got like the entourage and the suit and booting and stuff. Then we jump into the Private Party versus Jurassic, or SCU Private Party versus Jurassic Express and Young Bucks. This is pretty much a match of pure, if you ask me, and I think Fade will agree here, a match of a lot of storytelling more than in-ring action. We're seeing a lot of cohesion between the Private Party and SCU, Kazarian kind of amping up and kind of like trying to rile up a lot of time Isaiah Cassidy and Mark Quinn, but what we're noticing on the opposite side is that the Bucks are kind of just keeping to themselves and not really tagging in the Jurassic Express, which is very interesting because if you watch BTE this week, we saw like an angle where they were trying to say, you better tag us and we'll tag you, and suddenly that all changed, but that could have been theoretically before the events of what happened last week with Hangman Adam Page. But yeah, it seems to be just a tale of two sides. You have one really cohesive team, one really uncohesive team. Like, we're talking great work between SCU and Mark Quinn and Isaiah Cassidy, Private Party. A lot of like best moonsaults ever, a lot of high flying, great cohesion. Where on the other end, it's pretty much isolation station for per Jungle Boy. He gets the heat on this one badly. He is the sacrificial lamb until Lucia gets in. Luchasaurus gets in, but then it ends up being a case where the Young Bucks end up tagging themselves in anyway, getting the Meltzer driver in, and just walking right off before they even get a chance to celebrate. Like they were in a salty mood. They didn't even pose coming out to the ring. They're not even celebrating with Jurassic Express. And you can just tell the events of what's happened with the Elite over the last week has really played into this whole show. And it's just a match of pure storytelling, like really kind of building toward what we'll probably see it all out. Overall, not a bad match, but you know, wasn't really about the match. It was more about the story in this one, if I say so myself. Yeah.
Slight correction, they won with the BTE trigger.
Oh, was it the BTE trigger? That's okay. My apologies. I thought they went for the Meltzer driver. Yeah. My apologies.
And I think another piece of storytelling here is the Young Bucks. What they tell us time and time again that they're one of the, if not the greatest tag team ever, and they have to win this match to even be on a pay-per-view. You know, that's a bit of storytelling there, and also to the ranking side, you could argue that winning this match and winning the pay-per-view match puts you in contention for the tag titles.
Yeah, because like Jurassic Express only got into top 5 this week. They're only ranked top 5 literally this week going into Dynamite. Now, obviously, that may change today as the rankings get released again. But prior to this week's Dynamite, they only broke top 5.
Yeah.
So,
and speaking about the behavior of the Young Bucks, they also attacked the fan with the Adam Page sign. You could say they did work a little bit more heelish this week. It will be interesting to see if at all out they follow Kenny Omega's example and attack Marco Stunt.
that's an interesting one. I didn't even think about that there, and it could be the case. I mean, we'll have to see where it goes. I have opinions on where that'll go. If we get time to get to our predictions, we'll get to that there. But I think this is going to be interesting. I feel like there's a lot of storytelling going to happen at All Out, and I feel like we're in for a hell of a show. We have the Jake Hager segment technically next, where Jake Hager, I say segment, I kind of put that in parentheses. He just has a camera crew following him, goes into Orange's room. Orange is sitting there with his bag. Orange got himself kicked up. He sits kind of over Orange's leg, says that Jericho wants him at the match and he better be there, but not before Orange tries to put his leg back over Hager, who did not appreciate that there, and he says he would be smart, he should be there.
Jake Hager has some really great comedic timing. He's the silent comedian, basically. He just sits there next to Orange Cassidy, kind of looking like a grown-up version of him, and like just a look kind of reminded me of the bar scene at Double or Nothing with Paige.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh, that was good. And then we kind of go into like an FTR. I'm gonna call it a segue rather than a segment. It was kind of like a little backstage thing. Tully basically goes through everything they've done to get to this point, to get to the prize. Nothing's going to take it away from them. They're going to have nothing's going to get given to them. They have to take it from them for themselves. We kind of amping up, trying to get them all riled up. They're saying how much they respect Adam Page, but they also respect the prestige and the winner's purse and and having the titles more than Adam Page. Fear the revelation. Standard top guys, standard verbiage from what we all are starting to feel is a 4 horsemen rise here. And then we go into the actual segment. You want to take us through that, Freed?
Yeah, Tony Schiavone interviews Kenny Omega, of course, talking about what happened with Hangman Adam Page last week. And Kenny says Page was taken by FTR and they fooled him. And then it's interesting what he continues to say. He says, it happens, we live, we learn, we move on. I didn't expect him to just basically brush over this whole thing, and she says, "Yeah, we are the tag team champions, and just like any other tag team, we will defeat FTR." So still kind of working as a cohesive unit. I think it feeds into the mindset that they are not a tag team per se, but they are 2 singles guys who together are great tag team champions.
Yeah, it's a tenuous alliance, very tenuous. It's the best way I could probably describe it. But that's not all that happens. Obviously, we have some special guests.
Yeah, FTR with Tully Blanchard walk out. They have their little beer cooler with them again. They say they're looking forward to having a great match at All Out, and they want to toast to that. They have a chocolate milk for Kenny. They learn from their mistakes. And Kenny says, basically, he knows that they're just trying to jump him. He doesn't want to spend any more time with dickheads, which is verbiage. They tried to blur to beep it, but they didn't.
They
quite
got it so wrong. It's like 2 hillbilly dickheads or 2 dickhead hillbillies, and it was like, I was like, whoa, what?
Yeah, and basically says just bring it on. 3-on-1, attack me, but I will get some punches in. And this is when Adam Page walks out. Really, really red eyes. Have you noticed that?
Yeah, it's like, I don't even think that's... It doesn't look like sleep to me. It looks like someone who's been crying a lot. And I thought that was a very interesting detail. That wasn't sleep deprivation. Yeah. That was someone who has been emotionally upset and is distraught.
Yeah, looks like he had been doing some soul searching. Could be crying, could be heavy boozing as well. So, Paige walks out, like I said, a little bit distraught. FTR, they want to make Paige tell Kenny, explain to Kenny who got in his head, who made him turn on his best friends. Because it wasn't FTR. It was you, Kenny. No, it was you, Adam. It was you all along. Because all his career, he's been nothing more than an insecure little boy. And Kenny and Paige kind of squabble for a little bit. Yeah. Doing so, they drop the titles. FTR pick up the belts. When Adam tries to grab them, they just drop them to the ground. Adam Page picks them up, takes one belt, tries to give it to Kenny, and then this great camera shot. It pans around, and you see Kenny Omega has left the ring.
Which I wonder, because like they squabble a bit, but it's more. It felt like to me he was trying to calm them down, or he's trying to calm him down, and I thought he just backed off a little bit. I didn't think he got out of the ring. That took me off guard. That took me quite a bit aback. And when I said tenuous alliance earlier, that's why I said tenuous alliance, because it feels like Kenny is sort of drifting away and leaving Hangman adrift alone on his own island. And this is where, and I think this is a really, honestly, a really decisive plan by FTR. It's like, look, they abandoned you, but if you come with us, we'll look after you. And I feel like, because they said it wasn't him that got in his head, but who talked to Paige before Paige done the incident? It was Cash and Dax. Like that, they talked to him almost immediately before he cost the Bucks the match. So some primo heel lying right there, manipulation at its finest. But I feel like it's sowing the seeds to try and bring Adam over, because they turned their back on you. We'll never do that.
Yeah, and it's kind of raising their odds for their tag team title match. Is FTR is doing, right? Because if Kenny and Paige are fighting with each other, that's an easy win.
Yeah, they don't even have to pin Hangman. They could pin Kenny, and if they pin Kenny, they can say, "You didn't lose the titles. Kenny lost your titles, but we know you're better than them. Come with us."
There's All Out is going to be interesting storytelling wise.
I think it really will be. And then we jump on this. Did you notice this is like they always do this? So there always like 3 or 4 segments in a row, and then a match.
Yeah.
I've noticed that started to become the theme of Dynamite. We have the Jericho segment next.
Yeah, the thinking is that a lot of people change the channel when a promo segment comes on, of those watching AEW, so they pack them into packages.
I like the promos though.
So do I.
I'd be like turning on to AEW if our promo was on. I'd be like, yeah, I want to watch the promo. It's gonna be great. Yeah, I'm just like that there. But we have the Jericho segment next. He's talking about he talks about to Alex Marvis about when's the first time you experienced something new, kissing a woman for the first time, stuff like that. There acknowledges it's been a 14-week build. 14 weeks of this, guys. He's building Orange into a main eventer, but he needs to put a bullet in his head. Or very, and we're stopping this now. I'm going to put a bullet in your head, because he's not the same level as Jericho. And he's going to just knock him out, make him tap, and then drown him in the mimosa. And then it cuts, and we go to the next match, which is Janela versus Jericho. I don't know if this was during a break, but we have like a mini Janela. Promo to the crowd and stuff, trying to talk about like fighting his heroes and stuff. Now,
it was during a break.
Did you hear any of the commentary audio? Because they didn't turn the commentary audio off. And JR said some stuff. JR peeled back the curtain by accident on leaked commentary audio and goes, Janela should be a heel. He walks like a heel. Has hair like a heel. So
awesome.
JR's done this before. It's not really his fault. It's the production's fault. But yeah. He kind of pulled the curtain back a little bit for everyone again. I was just I was sitting there watching it on Fight TV, laughing my head off at this point. Fight TV is great. You always get these wee nuggets. You know. So he called it "Kill Your Heroes Night." I was like, okay, that's pretty grim. And then obviously Jericho comes out with Jake, but then Orange makes his way to the ring, but from like the entrance, almost like a mock style with his backpack. We have a really, really squashy match. It's just Jericho just beating Seven Shades out of Janela. There's this one point where Janela's for outside. He tries to springboard back into a code breaker. Looked beautiful, mind you.
Ooh, speaking about RKO out of nowhere. No. That was a code break out of nowhere and it was glorious.
That was so good. He needs to do more shit like that. That's great.
Yeah.
And then he puts him into a land tamer or a Walls of Jericho, depending on what you want to call it these days. I prefer land tamer. Let's get away from the walls thing, if you ask me. Leave that WWE.
I mean, there wasn't a lion tamer though. That was the walls. A lion tamer is different.
Yeah, you have to have your like shin behind their neck or head, and when you're leaning back, I know the differences, but like I just kind of want to get away from the walls name. And then obviously Janela taps out. It's a pretty easy match. His face gets busted wide open at this point. Jericho wipes the blood that he on the t-shirt he's wearing. FYI, he's wearing an Orange Cassidy t-shirt. He then rips it off Hogan-esque style, chucks it at Cassidy. Cassidy then obviously gets fed up, rushes him, pounces, just absolutely just laying into Jericho. But then Jake comes in to, make the difference. And we're thinking, okay, so Cassidy's just going to get lambasted again. But no, Sonny Kiss comes out of nowhere. And Sonny Kiss lamps Jericho with something shocking. I was like, whoa, that was stiff. Jesus, get it out of you, Sonny. But yeah, they managed to kind of like even the odds a bit. Goes for the Superman punch. Doesn't happen. Then he pulls a bottle of the bubbly out of his bag, pours a bit onto the ring, gives his thumbs down, almost like Roman Emperor sort of. But meh. It wasn't a bad segment, but I'm just hoping that we're done with this now. 14 weeks. I need past it.
I've been after their first match. I've been saying I want them to stay apart for a while. I'm actually not that down on this feud at the moment, but if they continue this after the pay-per-view, I'm gonna be mad.
Yeah, like this is the rubber match. Get it done. Get it dusted.
Yeah. So after that,
it's like a mini. It's not even a segment. It's like a mini package, is it? Or we get the highlight reel from the matches between Sammy Guevara and Matt Hardy. All the good table and chair spots, and bringing back the golf cart chase. My favorite AEW moments. Yeah, they announced the Broken Rules match for All Out. It will be a last man standing match. Last man standing can, of course, happen anywhere. Yeah.
Must not happen in the ring. And the interesting stipulation is if Matt Hardy loses, he has to leave AEW forever.
I think it's interesting. I think it's an interesting stipulation.
Yeah.
And
I think we're really good on time. We're gonna have our predictions later, so I want to talk about this in the prediction segment.
Same. I'm actually very keen to get onto that. There, I'm trying to get us through this here so we can get. We have a Sammy segment though, which is the normals first. Sorry to cut you off, my friend.
Yeah, we got another signed promo during the picture ad break. It was his usual stuff. He will break Matt Hardy. Sammy is the best, blah blah blah. But Matt Hardy is standing high up on the rafters, and he has his own little signed promos. Finishes up with his deletion, delete. There's a crowd, so we get some delete chants. Wasn't anything too exciting.
Yeah, kind of standard thoroughfare. We go on to what I think is the single worst segment of the show.
Chaos.
The worst segment of the show. We have the pretty much the Battle Royale segment, guys. It starts off with Team FTW or
Taz Express.
What did you say? Sorry, what Express? The Taz Express?
Yeah, the Taz Express.
The Taz Express. Is that the formal name of them, or is that just your doing?
I think it's the best name someone could give them, and therefore I'm going with that.
Okay, starts off with them. They're talking about Ricky Starks destroying Allen. Same old here. Then saying Lance is dead meat thanks to Brian Cage. This brings out Jake. He interrupts the segment, says some pseudo sexual things about busting nuts in a ring and squirrels trying to grab their nuts and stuff. It was a bit odd. Then next thing you know, we have.
He calls the Taz Express the best set of losers he's ever seen.
The best.
That's gonna burn.
That was very good. I'll give him that. Jake is a good promo. Jake's a very good promo. Then we have Eddie Kingston,
and
the boys.
My notes say Snake Roberts, not Jake the Snake Roberts. That's
Snake
also
Roberts?
fine.
Okay.
Yeah.
Then we have Eddie Kingston and the boys. Rock out, which is it kind of creates this like four-way dance almost between, or freeway dance between the three teams. My God, my head's away today. But yeah, freeway dance between the teams, and then a massive scuffle happens as Tully and Spears come out, and they don't really kind of do much. But they're there, apparently, just to kind of show that, he is part of the Battle Royale. And then Billy Gunn comes out of nowhere and attacks someone. And then Darby
Austin Gunn is there too, Darby Allin, yeah.
Darby Allin comes out, makes a beeline. Serpentico comes out of nowhere. They start doing that terrible, terrible thing that they do in WWE. It's like, we got a Battle Royale coming soon. Let's show you how people go over the top rope to lose. I couldn't believe they'd done that. Then next thing you know, Inner Circle comes out again, but we see like Santana and Ortiz come out along with Jake, and they get ambushed by best friends again. At one point, I was like, just what the hell is this? It went on too long. It gets cut off by the Dark Order segment. They kind of run down what's happened essentially over the last wee while. They talk about the fact that this monster, who is Brody, has decided to take over AEW now that he's TNT champion.
Hang on there. Let's just take a moment to appreciate how they played out the Battle Royale segment, because I feel like this is important. Because they showed it during picture-in-picture. They come back, they acknowledge that it's still going on, and then the announcers are just like, by the way, here's a promo package, just watch this. I'm sure the Battle Royale stuff will be over when we come back.
Yeah, I mean, it was kind of trash. It was kind of trash, if I'm really honest. It was really crap. And then, obviously, like Dustin Rhodes and Nightmare Family, like vowing to make Brody pay. It's pretty much the promo package that was part of the Road to All Out stuff, just kind of recut and rejigged a little bit. Wasn't bad. It gets the point across, kind of heats up the match a little bit. Not that I think that's going to be the most stellar match of All Out. That's probably going to be one of the lesser stellar matches. Not that it'll be a bad one. It just won't be as good as some others. Then we actually have... Then we have a
Thunder Rosa's in-ring debut versus Serena Deeb. A lot of rolling R's there. That's just on my part, I guess. But Thunder Rosa's music is hype AF, isn't it?
I really liked it, yeah. I thought this was going to be a jobber match, but I was pleasantly surprised.
Yeah, it was a really, really long match. It went through an ad break. It had decent time. But I feel like that was to the detriment of the match. It goes on so long that it kind of doesn't put Thunder Rosa over.
You want Thunder Rosa to kind of decimate. Serena Deeb, for those who don't know, former what they called, CM Punk's faction in WWE, the
Straight Edge Society.
Yeah, Straight Edge Society.
And trainer in NXT.
Yeah, so
but I mean, she isn't really that established. If Thunder Rosa would have had a competitive match with an established star like Nyla Rose or Penelope Ford, who are clear to wrestle, to my understanding, maybe you could do that. But like to an AEW audience, a no name in Serena Deeb, it just took too long, kind of undervalued Thunder Rosa, if you ask me. And at one point, the commentators even said the way Serena Deeb just works this match, she could be in title contention. That's like, what? You're burying your own division right now.
Maybe they're trying to keep her strong because maybe they want to because like Thunder Rosa is not signed to AEW, so maybe they want to keep her strong in defeat so that they can actually make something of her post All Out.
Could be.
But yeah, we kind of got what we expected. We got a win after a Thunder Driver's done. It's we weren't expecting Thunder Rosa to lose right before before the All Out pay-per-view. And then we have the Moxley promo. He's talking about MJF climbing the rankings, getting not to sweat it on Saturday night, blah blah blah. Same old, just keeping it simple. But he says something quite funny. He says, like, after the way 2020 has been, the last thing 2020 has been a mess, and the last thing we need is MJF running around with the title. And I was kind of like, that's so matter of factly that I actually found it quite funny. But like he says, everything's been easy up until everything up until now has been the easy part. So yeah.
Yeah, it was an okay Mox promo, just like the MJF promo earlier in the show. But of course, the big hype segment is the main event. So after this, we get Tony Schiavone with Big Swole. Big Swole announces she got to pick the stipulation for their match. So they're going to have a tooth and nails match, which according to Dave Meltzer will be a cinematic match, filmed probably in Britt Baker's dentist's
office.
How do you call it? Dentist's office? Yeah, thank you. Which leads me to believe that one of them will be put in a trash container.
Well, this was also confirmed by Tony Khan as well at his conference call. He said it's pseudo cinematic. It's like, okay. Yeah. So yeah,
and that's the reason why it's going to be on the pre-show, on the buy-in. Some people have voiced some outrage about this. They're going to put it on the pre-show so that the live audience doesn't have to sit through a televised match on a screen, basically.
Makes sense, but also it's one of those things where Tony Khan said himself in his live press junket this week. It's like, wrestling's amazing. It's the only sport in the world where fans can get upset when a good match is for free.
Yeah. After that, it's a great line. After that, a pizza delivery girl in big air quotes walks up to Tony. Oh, hold on, got a great script idea for a porn flick. Pizza girl, but stupid joke, abort.
Say Reba? You suggesting Reba goes into that industry?
No, not her. Not that I wouldn't want to see her there, blah, 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 blah. This joke has died a minute ago. The pizza delivery girl, in air quotes, distracts Tony and Big Swole. Britt Baker uses this to attack Big Swole with the crutch. She shoves her face into the pizza, kicks her, puts the lockjaw on, and yeah, that's that.
Yeah, it was pretty rudimentary. It was what we expect. It's hyped up the match for Saturday. We'll see how that goes. I'll be interested to see what it looks like being a cinematic match.
Yeah, Britt Baker was once the most hyped up, best woman in AEW, and look at her a couple of weeks later. This injury has done her no good. I'm just hoping they will build her up now that she's cleared to wrestle again.
Yeah, like I think she'll be the next contender for the title. I think she'll be going after Hikaru Shida and probably win, if I'm honest. I don't think Hikaru's losing this week, but we'll get our predictions on that one. We have Mox versus Mark Sterling. What an incredible
Have you researched this guy?
Yes, he formerly worked for NXT, if I remember correctly, or WWE in some capacity as a tag team.
On one of the wiki pages, you can find an old picture of him. He is ripped. This guy is shredded, bro.
Really?
I'm not even lying. Hold on, I'm giving you the link. How about that?
I'll check it
while I talk this up. It's an older picture. Yeah, he has jobbed for WWE before, like you said. He is even currently a champion in 3XW Wrestling. That's in Des Moines, Iowa, if I recall correctly. And he had his debut in 2001, but took a break from wrestling from 2007 and returned in 2015. So yeah, he's an established guy, but yeah.
On and off, basically. You know what? Not bad, not bad. It's one of those ones where I wasn't expecting to be a champion. I just noticed our chat was kicking off there. Didn't even kick on. We'll get these in a second, guys. We're gonna go through the Mark Sterling and Mox match, and then we'll get to our chat in a wee second. But yes, Mark Sterling and Mox match. It was kind of what we expected. It was it's a massive joke.
It's a Three Stooges match. That's how I described it.
Yeah. Like, there's a part where like Mark Sterling cuts a promo, and it's he talks about page 17 and how he couldn't get it. Hart was so dirty, and how he couldn't get it. He couldn't get it removed from the contract, and blah blah blah. His legal team, normal stupid lawyer shenanigans. Mox enters via the car park because that's badass if you ask me. Who needs to walk through fans when you walk right for a car park? And then we have like this really sort of sarcastic sort of part where Mox prays for forgiveness or something in the corner before he actually does the match. I could not stop laughing at that. They're going, oh, for God's sake. But yeah, it's like a Free Stooges match. Like a lot of time, he's like going to give Mark a free shot, and he ends up just causing a bit of chicanery, either by throwing him out of the ring or slapping him in the face. It's really, really just silly, just stupid fun like that there. Mark Sterling does make the mistake by poking Mox in the eye, because that just pisses him off. That just really pisses him off. And he gets a poke in the eye back for his troubles, and ends up getting pretty much really, really brutally looking like just paradigm shifted into next week. But that's not the end of the segment. We got more important.
One thing I want to mention about the segment is, the paradigm shift was legal, but I was hoping they would kind of build on what Mox said last week during the contract signing, that he has all these other ways to dismantle MJF, and that he would use this match to display his arsenal.
I get that. I feel like the reason they couldn't was probably because of, timing. If they had cut down that terrible Battle Royale segment, we could have saw it. I think that's what killed us, if I'm honest, but sure.
Yeah, but I mean, he doesn't have to win with a paradigm shift. What did he actually mention to MJF? He would choke him, he would break his arm or stuff like that. So, like Brian Cage, put him in an armbar,
Yeah, just kind of dismantle him, break him,
break his arm.
He's been very literal. Mox has been known to be very literal in this run, which is good, which is something I enjoy. But that's not even the main part of the segment. The main part is obviously, Wardlow comes in, starts beating the hell out of Mox, ambushes him. MJF comes down and slowly removes...
Sorry to interrupt you again. Wardlow doesn't simply ambush him. He hits an F10, and then he hits another F10.
Oh, he ambushed him to get to the F10. You have to ambush that.
I'm just saying, it's kind of important that Mox just ate two finishes for what's about to happen.
Yeah, but fair. But we have MJF come down, and it's not even like he's rushing down. It's more he methodically takes his time. He undresses slowly. He does his cufflinks. There's no sense of urgency in him. He knows he's got him where he wants him, and he starts then just wailing into Mox. He gets that wonderful Dynamite diamond ring, and he just punches him with it, busts him right open. I'm not sure if that was hard way or if there was just a cheeky blade.
It was a blade. You can see the ref handing him the blade just before the spot.
I did not click onto that. And then he's just busted right open, and I don't even think he intended to, but he got blood all over his wife beater, and he just starts biting him. He just starts biting the wound, and I'm like, we're in a pandemic, lads. You might not want to do that.
Yeah, did you hear Mox during the segment?
No.
He told MJF, just go crazy. And MJF went crazy.
Fair enough.
I mean, it was kind of odd that MJF just started randomly shouting, it wasn't very much in character, but I feel like he got stumped by the prompt, go crazy. Go crazy. This was crazy. But
But that's how he ended.
Interesting segment, because last week MJF said he was going to beat Moxley with wrestling and not street fighting, and he beats him with street fighting, basically.
We'll see. I feel like you couldn't count that because it wasn't technically a match, so it was more of I was just getting my anger out. Where, well, it'll be very intriguing to see how it goes on Saturday if he does stick to the promise of beating him in a fundamentals wrestling match, or if he brings himself down to Moxley's level. He has to bring himself down to Moxley's level. Moxley chooses to do that. Overall, though, that was kind of the end of the show. There was no happy ending here. We don't get happy endings until probably this Saturday. Probably, I don't know. We'll see. But overall, the show wasn't bad. I'd give it like a 3 out of 5.
I'm almost inclined to give it a 2 out of 5.
I try not to give it a 2 out of 5 because there was some good segments on there. But I don't blame you. I'm going to go 2.5 because that fucking Battle Royale was guff. That Battle Royale was awful, terrible. Never do that again.
And I mean, the opener was kind of a hot spot fest, but match-wise, there wasn't really a good or great match on the card, to be honest.
Yeah, like, I mean, there was a lot of violence at the start, but it was standard matches, nothing special, you know?
Yeah.
But
I am hyped for All Out.
I'm hyped for All Out, yeah.
But let's get to the chat, which is full of memes. I see it. You're just burning to get to it.
I just looking at it, I just said, like, I saw a PVG rocking the Straight Edge Society headband. It's like, yeah, what of it? What of it? Maybe I'm trying to be my Serena Deep from back then. I'll just shave my head. Britt Baker getting the pre-show Usos treatment. What? Like someone stole like DUI? Or
no, getting the best matches put on the pre-show, basically. Like the best workers on the pre-show.
Yeah,
a New Day Uso match series was always in the pre-show,
which was actually that was a crime. Actually, yeah, I thought you meant she got DUI. Concerned.
I mean, the idea isn't bad actually, because in the old days before it was all on the network, when it was actually pay-per-views, they often put one of the best worked matches on the pre-show to entice people to buy.
Yeah,
like they often put the cruiserweight title match on the pre-show in the good old days, and it was usually the best worked match. So.
Yeah, that was the Nitro days, definitely the start of that. Well, not Nitro days, but you know the post Nitro world before 1999. When we have an offer of Will Alexander extended joined it. God damn it, not that again. Not even gonna get into that.
I have been in contact with him. He will indeed replace both John and me.
Nice. So we don't even have to do the show anymore. Apparently Dean's here. Hey Dean, how you doing, man? My understanding is he got a law degree from Jamar. Jesus Christ. Powerbotch Thunder Days. We're not doing a Thunder show. We don't have time for a Thunder show coming to a YouTube near you. Justin's so committed to a Thunder show for us, and we haven't even, it's like, let us get our Nitro equivalent off the air before we consider a Thunder.
Yeah, right now we're just doing house shows.
Yeah, we're just on house shows right now, you know.
We're just a little indie podcast.
Yeah. We're not the WXW standards yet. We're getting there though. But yes, that brings us on to the next segment, guys, which is we're going to try and keep it short. We're going to try and keep it sweet. But the next segment, you know what it is, Fred? It's the news.
Don't you want to do predictions? That's kind of feeds off of Dynamite.
Do you want to do? Okay, we can do predictions. Let me change that to thing. Bam. Predictions.
Yeah, I've got the card. Let me just check real quick if any more competitors have been announced for the Battle Royale. No, my list is still up to date. That's wonderful.
I have 8 matches in total on my end for prediction-wise. What about yourself?
I've got an Excel sheet so I can actually note down and see and compare who's better at the end.
It's not including the Battle Royale. I don't really count it as a match because it's not traditionally, you know.
Let's start in the order we can find the matches on Wikipedia. First off, Britt Baker versus Big Swole Tooth and Nail match. What's your prediction, John?
Britt Baker.
I'm actually going with a Big Swole out of this, based only on the fact that that she was attacked on the go home show. That's kind of the WWE thing, to get your heat back, then you win.
So
And I'm predicting that she will put Britt Baker in a dumpster. It's gonna happen. That's why it's cinematic.
So my prediction is Britt Baker, because she's just coming back off injury, needs to get her heat back before she goes into a program with Hikaru Shida. Plus, she'll have Reba get involved, which will be almost like a 2-on-1 scenario. Will give her the advantage.
Awesome. Next is Matt Hardy versus Sammy Guevara. False count anywhere. If Hardy loses, he leaves AEW.
I am going to do the controversial opinion. I'm going to say Sammy Guevara.
Yeah, that's my pick as well.
Really?
Yeah, because I'm thinking they want to put over Sammy. This is basically the third match in the series. They're 1-on-1 right now. And like the Matt Hardy isn't clicking the way he's clicking. I just think they will work around this. They could bring him back as Damascus. Remember when he first debuted in AEW? Yes. Damascus. Yeah.
It's like that thing where like Cody's technically not allowed to go for the big title at some point, but I know that the 4 Horsemen angle that'll happen, they'll remove the stipulation, go, we'll let you go for the title. Come at me. Like one of them will get the title, and Cody will finally be able to get that title by going through the 4 Horsemen. So nothing's ever forever in wrestling. We know this. Next one.
Jurassic Express versus Young Bucks.
I think it's the Bucks.
So do I.
Reason why I think it's the Bucks, because I think they're going to need to try and get the Bucks ready for what's to come. I feel like this whole pay-per-view is going to be built around the 4 Horsemen. I feel like the lasting impression is that the 4 Horsemen are finally going to be here, and we need to start getting both battle lines drawn. And you can't have your
might very well be, yeah.
I feel like you can't get the battle lines drawn if the opposite team is looking like a shambles more so than it already is.
Yeah. Actually, we're kind of in agreement of most of that so far.
Our biggest one has been the Britt Baker one so far.
Yeah. I think we will have the same pick on the next one as well, which is Dark Order. That is Brody Lee, Colt Cabana, Evil Uno, Stu Grayson versus Matt Cardona, Scorpio Sky, and Natural Nightmares. Yeah. Why do you have the Dark Order?
Because it's got the TNT champion in there. They're white hot. They're finally getting their feet off the ground, and it's clearly a spot holder match.
Yeah. Yeah. And they just have to keep the momentum going now, you know?
Yeah.
Like Brody Lee is hot on his heels. Just keep him going strong.
Yeah, my prediction is they're going to feed Matt Cardona to Brody, because Matt Cardona is going to go for that title at some point.
Interesting. Next one of the most interesting matches, I think, is the 21-man Casino Battle Royale. A winner gets a world title shot. I'm going to run down the names that have been officially announced so far. Mm-hmm. Darby Allin, Lance Archer, the Taz Express, that is Ricky Starks, and Brian Cage. We have the Eddie Kingston gang, which is Eddie Kingston, Pentagon Jr., Ray Phoenix, The Butcher, The Blade. We have Sean Spears. We have Billy Gunn. We have Austin Gunn. We have Jake Hager, Santana, Ortiz. We have Chuck Taylor, Trent, and we have 4 to be announced.
4 to be announced. I feel that one of these 4 is definitely going to be the winner. I feel like you have the same opinion here again. And I'm just going to say it right now where you say it. I'm going to say Miro.
Don't you? I told you. That was my pick. That was my idea.
It's not your idea. It's the most speculated and very much widely assumed opinion on the IWC at the minute. You look at even Wrestle Talk right now, and everyone is speculating that. It makes the most logical sense. I came up with it first, okay? So it's a logical pick right now, and of all the free agents around, Miro is the most obvious choice.
Oh, what about Eddie Kingston is definitely going to win? He's all playing them.
No. My fault.
That was your angle.
No, you misquoted me there. I said that Eddie Kingston will be in the last 3 using the other people. If you're going to quote me right.
Yeah, I'm just remembering. You said that. Yeah, okay, fine.
Right,
can
next
we find
one.
disagreement anywhere here? Hikaru Shida with his Thunder Rosa for the AEW Women's Championship.
It's Hikaru Shida. You know who's winning this.
Should we make a no contest also eligible for a pick?
If you want to, go for it. Definitely. Like, it's the one match I think a no contest could happen, but I think that Hikaru Shida is going over clean.
I mean, the title retention is a given, I feel like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I feel it's
one way or another, but probably Shida will go over.
I think over clean.
Yeah.
FTR versus Kenny Omega and Adam Page. We already know where this is going.
I'm going to disagree.
You think Kenny and Adam are going to retain?
Yeah.
Oh, okay then. Right. What's your logic?
Here's why. We're thinking FTR is going to win, and what's the next pay-per-view? Something with gears. Full Gear?
Yeah.
Yeah. That's going to be the Bucks match. Bucks versus FTR for the tag belts. No. The Bucks will challenge for the belts, but they will win them off Kenny and Page. That's my galaxy brain level prediction.
We'll see how our galaxy brain works out on Sunday morning when I get a message from you saying they didn't.
They will stretch out this feud for a year. It will be a year-long feud, and they will finally clash at Double or Nothing 2021.
Oh, I think it'll be a year-long feud, but I think it'll be a year-long feud with FTR for those belts. That's the key difference. So the next one. I don't know if we'll have this.
Jericho. Sorry?
I don't know if we'll have the same on this week's one. I don't think we'll pick the same. This one, I think we'll probably pick very differently.
Interesting.
I think, although now that I said it, I think we won't. I don't know. I don't know where your head's at with this one.
Are we talking about the Chris Jericho versus Orange Cassidy match?
Yeah.
The logical thing would be for Orange Cassidy to win, and he's going to win by throwing Jericho into the mimosa, so he isn't pinned and doesn't lose as much. That would be the smart pick. I can see Jericho winning, but I'm going with OC because he puts him over so much.
Yeah, I think it's Orange Cassidy as well.
Okay. Mox versus MJF for the heavyweight title. Let me go first. You went first for the entire card. I'm going first. Non-controversial, Mox retains.
How long has he had the belt?
Since the Revolution, that was in February.
I don't know. Let me think. Let me tell you why I don't know. Because the belt is always best when the babyface is chasing, and I just don't think they want to take the shine off MJF yet. I think MJF's going to win because I think Wardlow's going to be a major factor in this.
Interesting. My thinking is that Mox will hit the paradigm shift behind the ref's back and win off that, and so MJF can claim he still hasn't lost.
We'll see. I feel like Wardlow's going to play a heavy role in this here, and I think Wardlow's going to pay dividends to MJF getting that title.
Let's answer chat real quick. Dean says, I think MJF will win with help of Wardlow. Justin is of my opinion too soon for MJF. Mox retains. Maybe Wardlow throws in the towel for MJF and screws him. That's something I've been thinking. Maybe Cody screws MJF over. Cody returns, screws MJF in a mirror of their Full Gear match.
Is that possible though? Considering he's not technically in his corner, is that legally?
Would
that be a legal move for him?
Literally throw the towel in. He just comes in and hits a Cody cutter, or crossroads, whatever on MJF. I don't know.
I think MJF's winning. I feel like people say it's too soon for MJF, but
yeah,
this company needs to start making some statistics. And MJF winning that title would have the youngest ever AEW champion statistic for many a year. It puts the one thing that's kind of marred AEW is quite a bit is that all of their champions are ex-WWE guys, and I feel like they need a proper born-bred champion that's not an ex-WWE guy in the singles division. And technically, if MJF does that, that's the first one. They need. I feel like that's a stigma that's still on them, and they need that.
I can see that, but yeah, it's going to be really interesting tomorrow night.
Yeah. I'm still in two minds if I'm going to be up for it or not. I'm going to try, but there's no guarantees. Dean just did ask a little bit further back there. Who do you think the four horsemen will be? Obviously FTR. Then we'll have Sean Spears, and I think after a while we'll see Adam Page join for emotional manipulation on FTR's behalf.
Yeah, throughout doing the show, I've speculated a lot. Maybe Sean Spears is a red herring. I've speculated that maybe Cody could be part, or that instead of Adam Page, Kenny joins. That would be interesting as well. It's all been a ruse.
The only thing that makes me think that Cody won't is because he's so diametrically opposed to Tully. Tully hates the Rhodes family that much, and I think there's too much bitter blood there.
But the Arn Anderson connection with FTR.
But he left. He was pissed off. He's like, I'm not getting involved in this. As soon as that segment where Sean came out, he's like, I know where this is going. I'm getting out of Dodge. I'm not dealing with this at all. And you got to bear in mind that Arn Anderson was laid out by Brody as well. I think his attention's way more on Brody at this point than he'd be on on those guys.
Yeah, like I said, those were just wild predictions that I threw out there. The lineup you mentioned is probably the safest pick.
Yeah, it's wrestling's amazing because it can be either really easy to predict or incredibly difficult. There's never an in between. It's very Marmite, as ever is or isn't. But yes, I think that's our predictions, guys. Obviously, if you just want to see us do more predictions for every card we do, we can do that there. We can schedule these in. It'll be once a quarter, of course, because we work on quarter pay-per-views. It's not like...
No, dude, you know what we can do? We could predict AEW Dark. I'm glad that landed.
Yeah, okay. Watch me get 99% of it right each week.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, sometimes they have a real match on there, you know.
Sometimes it's not enough, though. Jesus Christ.
Let's get to the news, shall we?
You see Justin was like saying, what are you going to put on the line for the worst predictions? Like, nothing. I haven't agreed to anything yet. Can I get to the news?
Should we? I mean, it's a fair thing. Everybody who puts out predictions there, like, they wager something. Should we wager something on the predictions?
I think we should plan it before letting the chat decide that there on a live stream. I think it's something we should agree before we get into it, because we have to make sure they're both comfortable with it, and that's not to be driven by peer pressure from a live audience.
Peer pressure from a live audience is probably the best place to make decisions.
I'm sure it is if you're a little bit simple, but I'm not that man.
Just call me a little bit simple.
I said anyone that makes that sort of choice is a little bit simple. That wasn't specifically directed at you.
I feel like you called me a little bit simple there.
If the shoe fits, throw it out the window. You shouldn't be labeling yourself like that.
You and me at all out today. Insult for an insult match. I don't know.
An insult match. Who's the heel now?
You, because you insulted me. You hurt my feelings, John. Did you know I have feelings now?
You have feelings? Did you just develop them?
I just developed them.
I'm gonna
for this storyline.
I'm gonna give you some advice, right? I need you to pull out an English dictionary, and I need you to look between shit and syphilis, because that's where you'll find sympathy, because you won't get it from me.
I forfeit, you win.
Bet you weren't expecting that.
Freaking heel. John turned heel on me.
Pass me those sunglasses. I will give you the bandana. Right, we'll get on to the news here. It's enough of us messing around here. Right, what is our first bit of news you want to cover, my friend?
NWA, because we've been talking about the NWA women's champion fighting the AEW women's champion. And yeah, there was a little bit of speculation what is going on there. And now it's becoming clear what's happening there, because NWA are developing a new show, NWA Primetime Live, debuting on Fight TV and the United Wrestling Network on September the 15th. So they want a little bit of promotion for that, of course, because Thunder Rosa will be on the show. Also, Nick Aldis will defend his NWA World title against Mike Bennett, former Mike Kanellis. And I've actually got the pricing point from Fight Now.
Oh, right. Okay, cool. What's the price on that?
You can get 4 episodes, basically a monthly bundle for $23.99. You could buy the first episode for $7.99, but this could just be to hook people, to give them a cheaper first episode, and we could get closer to the $13 to $15 that Dave Meltzer speculated about.
So the idea, if you buy in the bundle, you're going to get the episodes for about $6 an episode?
Yes.
Okay. That's not the worst, but it's also a real kick in the balls compared to what AEW do right now, which is like $4 or $5 for a whole month. Like, you're averaging maybe $1.25 per show on AEW. And I get it. They have also the benefit of, being on TNT, so they make up a lot of their revenue there, and so they can afford to make the international audiences pay a little bit less, but it's still kind of like woof. That's still,
I mean, if you compare it to the traditional pay-per-view system, that's widespread in the United States, like, pay-per-views are bloody expensive over there, right?
Yeah.
That's we don't really have that system in Europe. That's why it's so pricey. But if you are kind of used to buy a pay-per-view for $50-$60, it looks kind of cheap. But just from my perspective, like $6 for a 90-minute NWA show in 2020 doesn't really cut it for me.
No, it really doesn't cut it for me either. Maybe if they're smart, they maybe do a subscription fee around maybe the $16 mark, bring it down a bit, and include a pay-per-view once every 4 months, maybe at a reduced cost or something. Try and do something like that there.
You have the comparison to the WWE network, like right there, which is $9.99 a month, and you get more content for that, don't you?
You get like thousands, if not hundreds of thousands of hours of content, including some old NWA matches. Yeah. So, I mean, I get it though. Conglomerate, bigger entity. Billy Corgan kind of has to make his money where he needs to, but it's one of those ones where if your competitors are providing a cheaper alternative, you kind of have to be a little bit frugal and a little bit more, competitive. I don't know if they're still putting Impact on live Twitch TV, are they?
I don't know, actually.
See, that's the thing. If there's still free live Impact on Twitch as well, I mean, even one of their competitors is giving away their show for free on a streaming service as well. Yeah. It doesn't really. They have to really think about how they make this competitive. Justin made a good point there about there's actually a free version of the network as well, which means you can get like hundreds of hours of content. It might not be live wrestling week to week, but there's plenty of interesting wrestling content. Yeah. In fact, that even some of the stuff like the Monday Night Wars, if you want to go back and look at an overview of the history of like WCW and stuff, there's stuff there that's interesting for absolutely free.
Yeah. Let's just hope that this doesn't bury the NWA and it keeps them afloat until like the pandemic is over. I wouldn't want this move to hurt them.
No.
I don't want to see that.
No, we've always said that the more wrestling there is, the better it is for the industry because it drives competition. Even if you don't like Impact or WWE or AEW or Ring of Honor or New Japan, if you don't like them existing helps the product you do like because they have places for your wrestlers to go to if they don't want to work there anywhere or come from if they want to try something different, and makes everyone innovative and competitive. It means the shows theoretically should get better over time. What is our next piece of news you want to go through, sir?
Let's talk about the Iconics breaking up on this week's episode of Raw.
Yeah, that was a weird one.
Kind of a heartfelt story because Peyton Royce and Billie Kay have been together since school. They've tried out for WWE together, wrestled together ever since. Like real life best friends. Now the tag team is split up, and apparently Peyton Royce is quote earmarked for a big push, and that's kind of coming off her placing a second and third into bodybuilding fitness competitions 3 weeks ago. That's kind of the Vince McMahon move, right? He did see this and that's good shit.
Such good shit.
I just want to say this. I hope they're not doing this the WWE way. You know, you split up a tag team. One of them is a Marty. One of them is a Shawn Michaels. How about this? They are not allowed to wrestle together ever again. That's okay, but keep them together. They're still best friends. You know, they can still interact. They can still make the save for each other. For example, in feuds.
They can still be an entity. It can still be a faction, just not a direct tag team.
Yeah, and I hope they do that. And it's not like Billie Kay can't support Peyton Royce's performance. I'm sure she can enhance it.
Yeah, definitely. Like there's something to be said if they were like do not a managerial spot, but definitely something in the corner, like like Bayley and Sasha will do for each other when they're not in a tag team match, stuff like that. There,
right.
Keep the obvious reality there, because again the worry is that they'll change reality and we're not stupid. And the biggest comment that we've always made about WWE is that they treat you like you don't know or remember anything after 2 weeks.
Exactly.
So yeah.
Moving on. There is some discussion around moving NXT to Tuesdays because the networks have been very pleased with the ratings of an uncontested wrestling night for NXT, because of course without direct competition with AEW, they've been pulling way greater numbers. But WWE,
great numbers, but also no longer outside of the top 10 in the demos. Like the numbers have been like 800,000, which have been great for NXT, but they've actually been in the top 10 in the money demos when they're not going against Dynamite.
Yeah, that's right. And the story has been that the network has been way more in favor of opposing AEW before they got their a deal extension at the beginning of the year. They were thinking about pushing out the other company so that the network can be the number one wrestling network. But now that that's off the table, the network itself is speculated to be in favor of moving NXT, but WWE seem to want to position NXT against AEW still.
Yeah, they want to stifle the growth of AEW. It's Vince. He will take the loss in the short term to try and stifle someone else in the long term. He is bitterly ruthless like that. Justin has said, "Can you imagine the ego and promos of the demo god Y2J if he makes this happen?" He's already been on Busted Open Radio saying just get out. We own Wednesdays for your own good. Get out.
Yeah, he's already commented on this, saying that he won the demo war for AEW. He drove NXT away.
Yeah, he's already done it. And, it's...
Well, he didn't cut a promo on it, to be fair.
He didn't cut a promo, but it was a live show. But, Brian Alvarez made a fantastic point on Wrestling Observer Radio this week where, they have negotiations for the contract of USA coming up or is it Fox, in 2022. And it's going to be hard to sell your show when your show doesn't break in the top 50 of a money demo. And if they're smart, they move the night to Tuesday, where they are taking up about an average 200 to 300 extra heads on average for the show ratings. But more importantly, in the money demo, it makes more sense for them to do this because then it keeps them in a good position to renegotiate in 2 years. Where the stockholders in the last two calls, have actually started asking. About this stuff now. The stockholders are starting to ask really smart questions, which they never did before because they never had to. But in the last two quarterly calls, these questions have been coming about. And Brian Alvarez made a brilliant point. They need to now start thinking about, is stifling AEW, because it's not working. AEW is still growing. They're doing financially incredibly well, even in the pandemic. But does it really help to cut off your nose to spite your face? Because that is literally what they're doing with this.
I feel like this is a very Vince McMahon move. He doesn't watch NXT. He probably doesn't even care that much about NXT because NXT hasn't been a money-making property, even, right?
Not until they went on TV.
Right. I mean, for the most part, it was kind of a money thing, right? So, and like I said, Vince doesn't watch it. I think he still sees NXT as a sacrificial lamb to oppose AEW. Every viewer they take away from them is still a win in his book, and I don't think that's a smart business move.
No, it's really not. And again, another point I'm talking about a lot what Brian Alvarez said, but he made a lot of good points. If Vince passes away tomorrow, today, next week, who steps up to take his place? Triple H, right?
Does he?
But this is the thing. This is the point I'm going to make. Does it really make it easy for him to do that if the stockholders go, well, why would we put you at the head of this company? The show you ran is losing money even when on live television. He's actually screwing over the product and screwing over his bloody successor. He's hitting two birds with one stone in the worst way possible.
Yeah, that's a good point, John.
It's not my point, it was Brian Alvarez's point. I want to make that very clear.
Yeah, I know, but it's good that you researched it and that you brought it up. You did a good job. You get good marks.
Fantastic, and you all that cheating would get me ahead. What was our next menu, sir?
Well, that's one you have to tell me about.
Oh, you want me to tell you about some news? Well, let me tell you about the fact that Mauro Ranallo is no longer with WWE. He has been one of the many people that's kind of quit over the most recent wave of infections from COVID. We saw Renee Young put in her notice, and she was quite taken aback by the lack of concern from WWE when she got it. That was a quote that came out this week as well. She was quite taken aback by the fact that WWE didn't really check in with her too much when she had got COVID on their watch, which was a bit shocking. But Mauro Ranallo has now made his departure from the team at NXT and WWE. This was cited at the last NXT TakeOver, where it was expressed that he was just on leave, but then it came out later that he was actually parting ways with the company, and thus leads the way to be paid for some really bad news. In the form of Wade Barrett, where he is now saying, you didn't see that coming, did you?
I was just thinking that's a very odd choice of words to describe Morrow's departure.
yeah. But I had a segue ready for you there, though. I'm good like that. Where Wade Barrett is apparently negotiating or has negotiated a full-time commentary contract with WWE. This is interesting in the sense that he has very much expressed his opinion that he does not want to be an in-ring competitor. He wants to do commentary. I think this is signifying that the Stu Bennett, if you don't know when he's not in WWE, or Wade Barrett, does not want to be an in-ring competitor anymore. He is retired from that, and he actually done some great commentary work for some of the stuff of World of Sport that came back 2 years ago on ITV, as well as some stand-in appearances for the NWA Power segment after the departure of Jim Cornette. So really good sort of color and play-by-play commentator, really flexible in that capacity, great at telling stories, but also really great at giving the in-ring psychology. I think this is a great steal for NXT. He's really good at what he does. He's got a, like Nigel McGuinness, who is indeed coming back as well. He's got a very, his accent is very broad, but it's catching. Like when he talks, you listen, and I think it's a good fit for Mr. Wade Barrett.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Wade Barrett is definitely a good commentator. He's a good promo too, and he arrived there in the right time. So
yeah,
looking forward to that. Yeah,
looking forward to seeing his work. And then the last one, I guess we need to cover this because it's kind of news. Mr. Brock Lesnar. I didn't even just want to finish it correctly. I gave up halfway through that name. But yes, Brock Lesnar is apparently no longer under WWE contract and is technically a free agent. People have speculated, will he go to AEW? And in the words of Chris Jericho, will he fuck? No, he will not, because let's be honest about this here. Tony Khan, when asked about the question at the most recent press junket, was a little less. Usually he's quite pleasant in his formalities, and he'll like push something off if he's in a polite way when he's asked a question about talent or signing new talent. Where with Brock Lesnar, he was very, very abrupt and goes, I can't talk about that at the minute. You know, he which was quite off character for Tony Khan, but I just don't think, and neither does Jericho think, that Mr. Brock Lesnar is going to enter an AEW ring anytime soon. Yeah. I think you were telling us some interesting about the statistics.
Those guys are very good at playing us.
They are, but you were saying some very interesting statistics that Jericho said on his podcast in relation to this.
I don't think it was on his podcast.
Was it not his podcast? I wasn't sure where he said it, but you said you said that the amount of cost it would be to get Brock back into the ring for AEW would not be earnable or retainable to make enough money to get back off him for what to spend on him.
Plus, as soon as you make an offer to Brock, he's going to run to Vince McMahon with the offer and say, "Hey, I got an offer. Pay me more," and he will.
And he will.
That's the main point.
Yeah, I mean, at this point in time, Brock is the current relationship is speculated to be either he will come back when crowds are back, at which point Brock will approach Vince, or Vince will offer Brock to come back if he needs him, and he will pay an exorbitant amount of money for him. So yeah.
And apparently he's been in talks with Bellator, UFC, MMA companies right now. Brock Lesnar is. I think he's getting up there in age where it's getting dangerous to continue fighting in an MMA. He could still be a draw. I mean, Dana White is still very high on him because he has been a big draw in UFC history, of course. But I think it's still a play. I think Brock Lesnar doesn't really have the... He doesn't need nor probably wants to fight a shoot fight anymore. It's just a negotiation. Ugh. My English is broken now.
Negotiation tactic?
Thank you.
Not a problem. Yeah,
English no longer work. Yeah, like you said, as soon as there are crowds back, when there's a Saudi show or a WrestleMania coming up, who you gonna call? Brock Lesnar?
Hope not.
Roman Reigns needs a big match at WrestleMania. How about against Brock Lesnar?
I guess, but when the Saudi when a Saudi Arabia match comes up, what are you going to watch? Something else. It's as simple as that for me. But yeah, I think that's all the news I have. What about yourself?
Yeah, how about we talk about something else? Last week, we talked about our top 10 weird match types. And we omitted one. It's a divisive one. It's split fans into two camps. Some think it's the worst, most complicated match there is, and others think, yeah, it's okay. I'm on the side that, yeah, it's okay. We're talking about the King of the Mountain match. I got the merch. I got the DVD. Check out my cool shirt.
Ladies and gentlemen, he's got everything but common sense.
So, what we are about to do, John will lay out his critique of the King of the Mountain match, and I will tell him why he is an uneducated pleb who doesn't understand great quality wrestling.
Before we get into
something
that,
like that.
I want to make a point of going through the rules of the King of the Mountain match for some of our listeners and viewers who are not aware of it before. King of the Mountain match was a match established within the TNA, NWA era of TNA, and the idea was that it was meant to try and bring the elements of a ladder match, but kind of change it up a bit into a new format. The way the match works is it usually has 5 people. For every match that I've seen, it has 5 participants, and each of those 5 participants need to hang up a belt on top of a hook in the center of the ring. However, before they are able to hang up said aforementioned belt, they have to become eligible to hang up said aforementioned belt. How they do so is by scoring a pinfall or a submission against an opponent in the ring, thus allowing them to take the belt and hang up the belt on top of said aforementioned hook to secure the win. The person who is pinned or submitted is then spends 2 minutes in a penalty box while the rest of the match goes on and continues. There is an issue in the sense that if the belt is dropped in the process of being hung up, it is returned to the individual, the official that is holding the belt. But bear in mind, when you become eligible, you have to then collect the belt from the official to then hang it up. Inside said time frame, another eligible opponent can steal the belt from you and hang it up. But if you drop the belt in the process of hanging up the damn belt to get your win, the belt has to be then returned to the official and the process started again.
You know, you can make any match sound complicated if you over-explain it like this. You know, a tag team match works by 2 opposing factions, henceforth called tag teams, who can be made up out of 2, 3, or any number of wrestlers.
So
only one man. You can overcomplicate a tag match, like the tag rope, and you can explain how pinfalls work and submissions work and rope breaks and inside the ring and outside the ring and tornado tag rules and all that stuff.
So the problem I have is that it's convoluted as all hell. But like in regards to a tag match with tag ropes and stuff, they don't deter typically from the ability to win most of the time. Where the problem is that you have to secure a pin or a submission, which in normally any other match wins the damn match. So they've already ruined the concept of how a match is won. Then they've talked about the idea that you have to then get the belt from the official, meaning that you have to go and find the belt off someone, put it up and then get up a ladder and put it on the ladder. You talk about the idea of having people intercept the belt if they're eligible to, and a penalty box. Let me tell you why this is terrible. How do fans in the arena follow what's going on? Oh, is he meant to be in the penalty box? No, wait. He's not meant to be in the penalty box. But is he eligible? I don't know. I can't remember if he's eligible. Oh, wait. He's dropped the belt. So now we have to wait for the belt to go back before we can go and grab it and put it on the hook again. That is a logistical nightmare. That is legitimately a logistical nightmare. Fans in the arena trying to keep track of who's eligible to put or not put the bloody belt up in the first place is already a nightmare. The pinfall submission thing, if you're watching it for the first time, would automatically make you think that the match is already over, because that's how matches fucking end. And then also the idea of having to climb up a ladder, put the belt up onto the actual hook is ludicrous, because just say they have a planned spot to drop the belt that creates the tension. What happens if it's dropped by accident? You've just ruined the flow of the match. There's like there's so much sections for error that it could just completely ruin the flow of the match. Now, let's look at this from the perspective of a production standpoint. Who the hell do you film when you're trying to make this match an actual spectacle for live television? Do you concentrate on the people in the ring? Do you concentrate on the official? Do you concentrate on the people in the bloody suspension box? It is a logistical nightmare.
Look at the Money in the Bank ladder match. So many participants. Who are you going to film? Are you going to film the people?
You know what the difference is, though? You know what the difference is? There's one objective.
You focus on the action.
Yeah.
You focus on the action.
Which is usually in one place. This has action in 5 of them.
No.
What do you mean, no?
Like, the Money in the Bank ladder match has action all over until, like, all the...
But the objective is in one place.
So
that means you can just if you get confused in a Money in the Bank match, you can focus on one area and know there's one point of win. In a King of the Mountain match, you're having to focus on a penalty box somewhere, an official holding a belt, who's in the ring trying to get pins or submissions.
Wait. Why do you have to focus on the penalty box?
Because if someone comes out of the penalty box, it's technically a run-in, which is an additional individual that could break up a key event, like the hanging of the belt or breaking up a pinfall or submission.
That's like saying in every match you have to put your eyes... Keep your eyes on the entrance, because someone could run in. No, you keep your eyes on the match. And if someone runs in, you notice it when he runs in.
Yes, but the fact of the matter is that we saw him go into the penalty box knowing that we know he's going to come at some point. Where if it's a run-in, it's a surprise. When it's in a penalty box, we know it's going to happen, which draws our attention away. And then think about that from a camera point logistical standpoint when you're trying to broadcast this on the live television. It's terrible. Think of it's literally Kevin Dunn's dream, because it's just jump cut city. It's terrible. It's like Kevin Dunn invented the damn match because he loves his jump cuts.
Let's can you explain to me how this is like really different from a Money in the Bank ladder match, because I can't see it. In a Money in the Bank ladder match, you got people fighting all around the ring as well.
Yeah.
Yeah,
but
how's that?
But the focus is in one area, where in the King of the Mountain match, you have to focus on who's eligible. Meaning you're looking for the pinfall and submissions. Never mind the bloody ladder, to see who's even eligible to put the thing on the ladder. Which means you've got split attention, because you have multiple objectives that you're trying to follow with 5 individuals, meaning that you have 5 eligibility points, of which a person could become eligible to put the bloody thing on the damn hook. Never mind just putting it on the hook, where in a Money in the Bank, you just gotta take the briefcase down. There's no prerequisite.
Yeah, but that's why I think it could be argued that the King of the Mountain match is an improvement of the ladder match, because in a ladder match like this, you have to put in all those stupid tropes, like how Money in the Bank ladder match usually goes. It's like chaos at the beginning, but then it's always 2 people in the ring, and everyone else has to play that. And I don't know.
You think that's not happening in King of the Mountain plus all the other stuff? Like that will happen in King of the Mountain plus additional plus extra. I mean.
The condition that you have to qualify to hang the belt to the ring, I feel like give this another stake. And you could argue that pinning your opponent, putting them in the penalty box, is a strategic move. It's less opponents. They don't have to play that somewhere around the ring. But you have a legit storyline reason why they can't interfere now.
But you know what ruins it? Too many feckin' people. it's 5 people, which means you have to factor in that 5 times, which means you have that happening either way too often or way too sporadically, and it just detracts from any of the actual main action. If it had been like a freeway or even just a one-on-one, it would work fine. But because they got 5 people, trying to negotiate and logistically plan that is a nightmare. Just planning that's a nightmare. Watching it, depending on your perspective, even worse. Because you have to then factor in 5 people who either need to get pinned or submitted, 5 people who then need to go into a penalty box at some point, and then also 5 people then scrambling to get the belt up. Now, if it's just 5 people putting the belt up, that would be cool. But the fact of the matter is that you have to, if the belt is dropped, because just imagine you have 5 people. If we get past the fact that all of them are not eligible, which means the penalty box is no longer going to play, we got rid of that. Great. Okay. Then we got 5 people trying to put the belt up onto the actual ladder. At least that centralizes the actual focal point. But the fact that someone drops the belt and it hits the floor, you have to reset the thing all over again. That just kills the flow of a match.
I feel you're like putting too much effort, too much emphasis on this resetting, because that's not how the match usually works.
But that is a rule, though, and we have to base it on the rules. We have to factor in. You wanted a critique on the match. I am critiquing the match because that is an official rule, and that is a possibility.
I feel like if stuff like that happens, even when you said you have to locate a specific ref and go over to him. No, what they usually do is they reach out their hand in a specific, or in any direction actually, and the belt is handed to them.
Yeah, but but if the belt is dropped, then oh no, wait a second, guys, we have to get this belt into this official's hand again and wait for someone to get handed the belt again. That just ruins the flow. It's such a terrible concept.
So in a Money in the Bank ladder match, when you drop the belt, now you have to get off the ladder and grab the belt again. It ruins the flow.
But at least at that point, it was actually at the cost of someone taking a spot. Whereas, just say 2 people are just, trying to climb up, or just say it's even one person trying to climb up, and he makes the accidental mistake of missing the hook or something, because it'll happen. We all drop stuff. We're human. It's not even a planned spot, but I dropped the belt. Oh, crap, that was the spot. I was meant to win there. Oh, for God's sake, now it's back to the official. I have to go get it off the official again.
Dude, the official will slide in the ring, pick up the belt. By this time, the wrestler's down there, takes the belt, goes up again.
But it's still...
If the rule wasn't in place, he still had to go down, pick the belt up himself. Now he goes back up again.
Then why have the stupid rule in there? Why put a rule like that in there?
Because someone needs to have the belt.
That's so stupid. Why do they have to have the belt? There's no justification for it.
To hang it.
So someone has to get the belt back off the official? You've just placed in the... I would be fine if they just got off the ladder and lifted the belt back up again, but the fact of the rule is that, they have to get the belt off the official again. Why is the official even there? You've just justified the entity of an individual for no reason.
I haven't gone back and watched all of the King of the Mountain matches I missed, but it probably happened like this, that a wrestler just went down, picked the belt up again, and went up there.
So the rules
probably happened.
Then. What was the point in having the rule then?
What is the point of having a tech rope? The rules is ignored.
But the difference is that a tag match is a fundamental match that's probably seen, thanks to AEW, 2 to 3 times a week bare minimum, versus a King of the Mountain match, which we've seen was maybe once every 2 years. They made a big deal of this match.
It was once a year at one point at least.
Yeah, exactly. So it wasn't a regular match. So you can overlook the ignorance of a rule like a tag rope in a match that happens like at least 10 to 15 times in the space of 4 to 5 months, versus a match that happens at one point once a year and then got elongated to once every 2 to 3.
Yeah, but you're like you're treating this like the company focused so much on this one specific rule. Like
they created the
Mike
rule.
Tenay and Don West were all over in your ears. Oh, if you drop the belt, the ref has to pick it up and you have to get it from the ref again. Don't forget about this rule. It's the most important rule of all of them.
If it's not important, why make it a rule?
to have it regulated for the first time, where do you get the belt from? Oh, the ref has it.
But then, if it's a rule, it has to be followed, which means it just causes issues, and you're factoring this on top of a logistical nightmare, as we already spoke about with the cages and the eligibility stuff. Overall, it's a clusterfuck of rules. It's if they just had it like kept it simple and said, we're doing a reverse ladder match. You put the belt on top of the damn, like, there's the belt starts on a feckin' pedestal at the start of the match. First person to hang the damn belt on top of the goddamn hook wins. That would have been way better.
That sounds horrible.
That sounds
horrible.
I've just done it's the King of the Mountain match, and I've just took out all of the massive amounts of stupidity and literally logistics. I've just made it so it's King. I've just made it so it's Money in the Bank, but simplified, and it makes sense.
Yeah, but then everybody has to scramble in the ring, and then you have to do all the stupid spots where like all but 2 competitors are laid on. Then,
which is happening anyway, though. It happens anyway in the King of the Mountain match. So, like,
if it happens anywhere in the King of the Mountain match, then you can't critique that. Oh, where do I focus on? Obviously there, because only 2 are there.
No. Because the reason why I critiqued is because these spots happen, but then there's other stuff on top of that are focal points on top of these spots. I've not critiqued the spots where people get laid out. I've critiqued the fact that you have to think about who is eligible, who is not eligible, and then who is in the penalty box.
Insulting the intelligence of wrestling fans once again, John.
Yeah, I'm going to say it right now. I'm going to put it very, very bluntly right now. Some wrestling fans are either stupid and won't follow it, or find it boring and will switch over. Guess what happened? They switched over. If it was such an important match, why'd it go from once a year to like a year's gaps? Because they knew it wasn't getting over.
You don't switch over when you're watching a pay-per-view again.
Really? When I get fed up of a pay-per-view, I'd switch on to something else. It may not be wrestling, but I'll watch something else if I'm bored.
You just paid $60 for this. You ain't switching over.
I have done that before. I have paid for stuff. I've walked out of cinemas because the movie was boring. If I'm willing to do that for a cinema, I'm willing to do that for a pay-per-view.
Okay.
But if it's too convoluted. Wrestling fans don't want convoluted matches. Like what is always the biggest complaints when we have these stipulation matches? It's just massive amounts of fluff that don't make sense. But like we've literally criticized the Mimosa match because it's a stupid stipulation. Stupid stipulations are stupid for a reason, because they just don't add anything or any value to the match. King of the Mountain stipulations don't add anything to the match. It's too overbooked.
I feel like it does add something to the match. What? And that's the pinfalls or submissions, the falls. I feel like it adds extra drama to the match, because it makes all the little moves meaningful, because they can lead to a qualification to win the actual match. They all lead to someone being put in the penalty box to be off limits for now. You said there's so much more going on there, and I feel like it enriches the match, makes it more strategic. You could strategize in kayfabe. You can strategize it better, and it makes it more like chess instead of checkers.
Right, but the problem is that a live product, and the problem I have with this here, I have no problem with strategic approaches to matches, but when the audience is trying attention is too divided, it's hard to follow the match. And when we look at that from a production standpoint, it's a logistical nightmare trying to film it, because they do have to film these things. Like, they do have to film the person going into the cage. They have to then film the person coming out of the cage. Like, they have to time this, because they do plan these spots, which means you're trying to then logistically plan this and also make sure that your audience is following it okay inside the arena, because they're not going to have the total benefit of the actual recorded equipment. It's logistically a nightmare. It's convoluted.
You made your points. I feel like I couldn't quite make mine, but we're running kind of short on time. So let me go for some closing remarks.
Okay.
TNA did a lot of weird stuff. They were trying to be different. They had a 6-sided ring, because a 4-sided ring was too much like WWE. They had weird matches. They had a lot of pole matches. They had Ultimate X matches. which were actually good.
Yeah,
They
I
had
liked them. I liked them.
Yeah, they had Chris Harris and James Storm fight blindfolded in a cage, which was a horrible idea. They had Kurt Angle and Samoa Joe fight in a mixed martial arts cage match, which was actually a good idea. What I was saying, they were trying to do something different. Some of that was a hit. Some of that was a miss. They were kind of weird. They were a weird kind of indie underground wrestling company shooting for the stars. And even if they were this really strange entity at one time in my life, they were my strange entity. It was back when TNA was my wrestling. And I think looking back, I really loved the King of the Mountain match because it was the WrestleMania main event of TNA.
Was that a Slammiversary special?
Yeah.
Okay. Fair enough. I'm glad you had those memories. I'm sorry I do not share those opinions. I will say that I definitely enjoy the X Division match because they were great matches. There was an interesting approach to what would be considered to be a standardized ladder match. I like the concept. They innovated on that there. There was some stupid matches because, Russo got in there and polls were involved.
I feel like, I didn't script out those closing remarks. It was extemporaneous speaking. And I feel like it was a great segue into ending the show. And here you go rambling on.
I was complimenting your opinions on some of your match choices. And
well, do that offline. You're a heel now.
Oh, am I? You heard it, guys. I'm a heel now. Obviously, we had a lovely discussion there on the King of the Mountain match, guys. We want to hear your opinions, though, of course, because these sort of topics are definitely little. I like to call them case studies into some wrestling curiosities, and obviously these are things that kind of get us interested as fans. We like to see, we like to look back on some of the things that were done right and done wrong in wrestling. And the great thing about wrestling is that no one shares opinions in the sense that everyone agrees with each other. There's always going to be speculation what you think the best match is. Hell, still people to this day arguing if Brett was better than Shawn, and it will happen for the next 20 years. But that's the great thing about wrestling. The opinion doesn't have to be right by everyone, but as long as you're happy with it, that's the main thing. We are going to have to love yous and leave yous, though. This is the end of the podcast. But of course, you know what you can do, guys. You can hit that subscribe button. That way you do not miss out on the podcast as it goes live. Turn on the notification bells. Keep yourself right. If you've been watching today or you're going to be watching any more of this stuff, hit the like button. We would love you dearly if you did so. On top of that, you can always catch us at our different places. Of course, you can check out Freed at twitch.tv /Freed_1. I keep always mess up the flow of that one. I apologize. I'm going to say my own name worstly because I'm so used to saying that. On top of that, you can also... I'm still trying to get him to get a Twitter, by the way, guys. He's got one. I'm just kind of like gently massaging him to actually use it so he can give some of his hot takes on things, like what type of bagel he had yesterday. On top of that, though, you can also catch myself over at twitch.tv /HPVG or on Twitter at OdenPVG. Again, guys, if you have enjoyed it, don't worry if you think the podcast is too long. We have got the segments cut up. We will be cutting up the segments, putting them on YouTube for you to digest in a format that's a little bit more friendly. But I have been John. I have been very, very fortunate to be joined by Freed. And Freed, I think you need to tell us where we need to go.
Where we need to go? What? I told you I'm mentally checked out when you start the outro. What?
That's why I force you to do it. Keeping you on your toes. Anyway, guys, we're going to love yous. We're going to leave yous. And we'll see yous on the next podcast. Have a good one, guys. Peace.